Welcome to Quilting on the Side, the podcast for quilters who are building a business while juggling real life.
I'm Tori from Hey Tori, a quilter, past pattern designer and teacher, and now a digital marketing coach for quilting entrepreneurs.
And I'm Andi from True Blue Quilts, long arm quilter, pattern designer, and quilting instructor.
Between the two of us, we've taught workshops, launched programs, joined summits, and stayed up way too late trying to finish one more quilt binding.
On this show, we're sharing what's worked and what hasn't in our interviews from incredible guests, everyone from quilting solo business owners to CEOs.
If you're running a quilting or creative business or dreaming about starting one, you'll find real talk, honest strategies, and a whole lot of support here.
So grab your notebook, grab your pen, and let's dive into another episode of Quilting on the Side. Welcome. We are so thrilled that you are joining us for today's episode of Quilting on the Side, and we are very excited to get to know Jamie Bright. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. Jamie, you are everywhere, it seems. I see your luminary quilt all the time on social media. So if people are wondering, that is, I think, your most well-known pattern at this point, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us how you got started quilting and what made you decide to turn it into a business.
Well, I started quilting when I was 10 years old after my mom came home from visiting this old lady she had met and gushed about how she started quilting when she was a kid. And I was the first child who obviously wanted to earn my mother's love and show that I was good enough. So I'm like, I'm going to make a quilt because she had taught me to sew garments and things. And she had a huge sewing room and just all sorts of fabric and stuff for me to use. And so I went into the scrap box and I found some fabric and I started doing these 9-patch, just simple blocks. And I didn't know what I was doing and I was determined. So I kept going with it and it turned into um, it was a queen size quilt in the end from like 2-inch squares. That was just checkerboard, just simple. And it had holes in it from the beginning. I tied the thing. It's not anything of high quality. But when my mom saw that I was serious about this, then she started teaching me about seam allowance and all the different parts of quilting. And I just took off. So I made so many quilts from the age of 10 through about college when I got busy and, too focused and I didn't have a machine set up. And then I got back into it after I started having kids, making baby quilts for them when I finally had a place where I could set up a machine without them having to touch it. So not right away when I had kids, but later on. And around, I don't know, 2014, 2015 is kind of when that happened. And I got involved in Instagram. I was already running an online business. And so I was on Facebook and all these places in the photography niche. And I really wanted to see what was out there for quilting. And so that was kind of like the early days when Instagram was actually a community builder and it was more social than it was media. And so I got involved in some mini quilt swaps and I got to know Allison Glass and then a bunch of quilters who are super well known now, who we are all just, doing our thing. And she was doing fabric. And I loved rainbow fabrics. And it was kind of at that point where I'm like, oh, this isn't just a childish thing. I can actually embrace this and make it mine and not feel bad about it. And so I think I bought like everything Allison Glass put out for a couple of years and got to know her a little bit. And she saw my luminary quilt, which was when I was just playing. I was playing around with some scraps I had from one of the mini swaps because they were just so pretty. And I didn't want to like waste the little end pieces of this thing I was doing. And so I started sewing together in different ways. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. And so um, I came up with this luminary thing more because of play. It was creativity. It was play. And I started getting like tons of people commenting on it. And Allison reached out to me and she said, do you want to co-publish it? Like, can I license the pattern from you and publish it as a paper thing? And since I had the digital online business, I'm like, you can do the paper version, but I want to keep the digital rights and everything. So she licensed that from me in 2016. I never really wanted to do a business in quilting originally because I was doing it in the photography space and that was going very, very well. COVID totally destroyed that business. Like photographers couldn't work with their clients. I taught marketing and sales to photographers and how to help them get more clients. And so they couldn't, they weren't getting clients and didn't have money to pay for marketing. Like it was just this mess. And so that business literally was destroyed pretty much within a 3-week period. Like overnight, it lost 85% of its income. And then over the next like 2, 3 months, it went to literally zero, no matter how hard I tried. And so what I did then is I'm like, okay, I have to pivot. And I didn't know what to do. So I kind of just spent some time doing some high ticket consulting and coaching. And I ran a mastermind for other online business owners. And I lived in that space for a few years because I knew it, but I didn't love it. And so um, it was paying the bills. And, teaching email marketing is very profitable because it works, but it's not my passion. It's like, okay, I have to send emails. And even though I've done it lots of times and I know it really well, it's not fun. And I had a friend who had said, "Well, why don't you try marketing your pattern, your quilt pattern?" Because I had set up a business for that, like on like a doing business as under my main business for online stuff. So technically, I'd had a business. I started it in 2016 when Allison Glass connected with me, and I'd get a couple sales a month, because of Allison's traffic and people wanting the PDF versions. She linked to my website. Otherwise, I'm sure I would have gotten zero. And it was, I didn't even like pay attention to it really. And so that's how the business technically started. Then it was December of 2024 is the very end of the year. And I was checking my to-do list before signing off for the holidays. And I just thought, well, I'm done. I have this day off. Like I literally had like an hour of stuff and then I'm like, oh, I can leave early. I'm like, best friend who said, maybe you should try marketing your pattern. Let's just try that. Let's just throw up a funnel and do some ads at the time because I have a lot of experience running paid ads. And let's just see what happens. And it worked. And I grew very, very fast. Uh, and I think it was about this time last year, February of last year. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's just go all in with this because it's way more fun than email marketing. Like I didn't think that I could do this and make enough money to make it a full time career. And I support my kids. Like I need to make money. I can't just have this on the side as a hobby, even though I did for almost 10 years. But when you market it, surprise, surprise, you get sales. So, and then it took off last year, and it's been great fun. So that's my origin story into the quilting world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. And
That's
it's
really
so
interesting.
interesting that you have that background in marketing because I know I struggle with that a lot, and I'm sure other people that come into the business aspect because they love the quilting so much, they don't have that background, and so they
Mhm.
struggle a lot. So, what is like one or two quick tips for beginners and folks in that marketing space?
Yeah, so I wouldn't start by running paid ads, just to be clear. I mean, I had run literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of ads from my own. I had a ton of experience. And what I see, I hate to talk about it, not because it doesn't work, because it absolutely can, but because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have any training on it, what happens is most people spend money, make nothing, and then they're like, ads don't work. And they won't unless you have some idea of what to do. And so I don't want people to be like, oh, I'll just go turn on a bunch of ads and then have them, upset. But what you really need to start with is organic. Do you have something organic that's working? Because ads are an amplifier. And so that's one thing. Just side note, I have to say that because I don't want people to be like, let's go do this and it'll blow everything up. But the other thing that works really well, and I've done this for all of the years, is actually collaborations and and that's a great way to test your organic stuff. And I know you talk a lot about collaborations on this podcast. It's part of why I was so excited that you invited me. But one of the biggest collaborations that I did in this last year was a summit. Now, I helped co-host the Quilters Paradise Summit with Rebecca Bryan of Bryan House Quilts and Jared Romy, who's not in the quilting world but has run summits for years and years and years in different niches. And he was in my mastermind. He's somebody I've met in person and know really well and trust and respect. And actually, Rebecca Bryan too. She was in my mastermind, and I've known her since way back in the 2016 days. And it's been really fun. But so the three of us decided, well, let's do something in quilting together because Becca and I know the quilting industry. We have stuff. Becca's been around for, I think, at least a decade. I don't know how long she's been in here, but she's a delight. And Jared's like, yeah, I'll do all the back end stuff, which don't throw your own summit unless you know what you're doing because there's so much work. But if you can get involved in one with somebody else doing the admin, they can be a really huge a growth to your business. So I think the biggest thing is that with a summit, just like anything else, there's a right way to do things, and there's a way that's a total waste of your time and effort. And so I think a lot of it really depends on what you put into it, but there's lots of collaborations. I know there's like collaborations with, like my collaboration with Allison Glass got me the majority of my sales for those 9 years where I wasn't doing anything myself. And fabric companies, and there's tons of collaborations available in the quilting world. So that's where I would focus on starting because they can really kickstart you in a big way if you do them well.
I agree. Summits are the way to go, and it's exciting to see several of them recurring, and they each have a different flavor. So
Hmm.
it definitely is a testament to the broad spectrum of people in the quilting industry that we can support these
Hmm.
various ventures. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So
Yeah,
I would
there
love
it's yeah, go ahead.
so we heard from Andy's point of view about being in a summit, but I'd love to hear your tips for anybody who wants to participate in a summit. Like how do they get ready for it?
Yeah. All right. So I have, I'm going to try and stay focused, but I got a whole like little mini masterclass I could teach on this. So it really comes down to you're going to get a lot of exposure. So our Quilters Paradise uh, conference that we did last fall had over 36,000 people registered. And so there's a lot of people coming in the door. Now, you don't just automatically get all of those as an email lead, and you don't want to have all of those as an email lead because we all know that not every email is as valuable as others. And a lot of people will use, their junk email. I mean, we all have a real email that we only give to like stuff we really want, and then junk emails for stuff we don't. And so generally when there's something given, like when they're signing up for something, unless they buy something, they may not be using their primary email address, and it's not usually as valuable. Now, I'm not saying it isn't, but but you want to get people who are like, yes, I want your thing or I want your freebie. So um there's really a couple things you need to have in place before I would actually jump into doing a summit. And I know you kind of covered some of these in your episodes, but you should have something that you sell. And I actually recommend trying to promote your best seller in some ways. Now, I'm not saying you should do a big 30-minute commercial for your pattern or Andy, what are you going to be? Can I ask you? Can I use you as an example?
Of course, I am doing my half rectangle triangle workshop, which then leads to my little bit different ruler that helps
Mhm.
people accurately make the units that they need for my little bit different blocks.
Awesome. So you have a ruler and you have a class that you could sell to them. Okay. So this is great. So having something that you can sell is going to help you actually make money from a summit, obviously, and not just get emails. You do need to have an email list. If you don't, you're not going to get hardly any benefit from the summit. And we did have a couple people who didn't have anything set up who were just like, oh, email me for this freebie. And the opportunity, I mean, imagine you're in front of 36,000 people, or maybe there's 36,000 at a thing, and maybe even half of them or a third of them come and actually watch your presentation. And you have no way, you've just built this trust, you've given them this awesome thing, and you have no way to capture them. So if you don't have an email list, I'm sure Tori can help you get one of those set up and do all of that. So talk to her. And then ideally, you have a reason for them to join your email list. So a freebie or something that's related to what you do. So, Andy, do you have something that you will be promoting as a freebie to get people on your email list?
I do. I offer my tip sheet. I tend to make some kind of, PDF guide for whatever
Mhm.
my workshop topic is because I do have several. I've been lecturing for several years and I have a couple different books. So depending on what topic I'm talking about, I direct a different lead magnet that's usually a PDF guide to the
Mhm.
topic with some extra resources, and I can easily set that up with the email system that you mentioned.
Right, right. So for this, you're probably using something that's half square triangle related, correct? Yeah. So
Yes.
you want to make sure that the freebie is aligned with what you're going to sell, because if those aren't aligned, it's you're going to have a disconnect, and you might get the lead but not the sale. If you want to get both, which is kind of like the ideal situation, you definitely want them to be aligned and be related to each other. So they're like, oh my gosh, I get this free. Ooh, and I could get these things if I want to go deeper. So that's kind of a really beautiful way to do it. Um, And so some of the things you get out of doing a summit, and I'll talk about how to optimize these in a second. But part of why summits work so well for collaborations, unlike like quilt things or, like, I mean, not saying that quilt pattern collaborations or things aren't helpful, but you have 20 to 40 minutes to build trust with people and let them get to know you. And I think that's probably why they were so effective for me this last year is that there's so much scam, fraud, AI junk out there and people don't really know who to trust anymore. And I really think moving forward, people will buy from those. I mean, it's always the people they know, like, and trust, but like that trust portion is only going to become bigger and bigger. And so if they've taken the time to watch your presentation or even a part of your presentation, and they're like, gosh, I really like Andy and what she's teaching is really helpful. That's going to make them so much more likely to come and opt into your freebie and get on your email list and buy your stuff than if they just saw a random ad in their feed from Facebook, which nothing against Facebook ads, but it's just so much stronger. And I think that's also why YouTube is such a huge thing. And it's where I'm going to be focusing this upcoming year, launching a YouTube. People don't know who to trust anymore. And so summits give you an opportunity to get in front of a large audience and build that trust. Not to mention, you get to raise your credibility with the other speakers who are involved. So, if there's already well known, well respected, and well trusted speakers in a summit that's speaking with you, you're speaking on stage with them, and that lifts your credibility as well. And so, definitely can increase your credibility and trust. You can get email leads from it if your presentation is aligned with your email thing and your thing you're selling. Sales, and it's not just from selling your stuff. I'll talk about the different ways you can get sales in a second. But then confidence. One of the things that surprised me most was how many comments we got from speakers at the last one just saying, wow, that really boosted my confidence because many of them had never spoken on a stage with so many people. And it's not a physical stage, it's pre recorded, it's not live. You do it in advance. But there is a Facebook group where people can interact with you. And some people got hundreds of comments on their presentation. And they're like, gosh, that was so confident, or, that built my confidence up. And some people got speaking invitations to speak at guilds because guilds are always looking for more people to come and speak. And I know you have an episode all on that. I've listened to it because I was like, how do we do this if I want to do this? But none of those things are guaranteed. Okay. So it takes intentionality and it takes, there's really three areas that you need to focus in on. And by the way, interrupt me at any point because I will just like keep going. So
We're
if you have
loving
questions,
it.
just let me know.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So good.
So
So
much good stuff.
good. The first place you really want to focus is on your presentation, and we'll talk about aligning that. And then I'm going to use you, Andy, as a example. Second is the promotion and how you actually help promote the summit and how other people are promoting the summit. And then there's third, I have like a bunch of optional little extras that most people don't do that can really boost the results that you're going to get from a summit and help you get a lot more, sales, leads, all the things. Um, so with that in mind, when you're looking at your presentation, like I said, go with your best sellers that are already proven. So Andy, you've done the half square triangle stuff I've heard you talk about that for a long time, correct?
Yeah,
Is that one of
yeah,
your
but
best sellers, most popular things?
it is. It's really been the focus of my design, uh, interests and my quilting and my business over the last, oh gosh, going on 3 years now that I've really, done half rectangle triangles, HRTs all the time.
Yep. So it's going to reinforce that you are the person to go to for half square triangles, which is always great if you're niching down and wanting to be known for that. But also, if it's already sold to a bunch of people and you know that they like it and they find it helpful, it's more likely to get you better results in a summit than taking your brand new thing that's unproven. You don't know if people like or not. Because if something is sold to the people you've already reached, who already know you, all you need to do is get in front of more people of the more quilters, not just random people, but more quilters. And the likelihood of that selling is going to be so much higher than something that isn't proven. So sometimes I see people doing new things. And I did this last time. I didn't do anything. And I'm doing this time actually too. I'm doing new things. So I'm going against it. So you don't have to do that. But I also know that my goals with this are a little bit different than my what most people have for goals coming into it. But if you're coming for sales and email leads specifically, then you're going to want to take your best seller because I guarantee there's going to be people there who haven't seen it. And if some of your people already come to this and see it and they're writing about how much they loved it, it's more likely to get other people who are like, oh, what's this thing that's so good? I want to go watch this presentation before it expires. And so it does build kind of some hype around it. So
Yeah.
it's a really great focus.
One thought I had with that is that, as you said, for someone, if this is your very first summit, it if teaching something you're already comfortable with
Mm,
is going to make the process a lot easier. So I would
right.
uh, definitely reiterate that. Lean into your bestsellers.
Absolutely, and the only reason that I'm not leaning into my bestseller is because I'm a co-host. I'm going to get the emails from this because that's part of my thing with it, and I actually wanna use this to test my new, presentation that is totally different, and it's, more about bringing more meaning into it, so it's more of an emotional type of thing, and so I'm not worried about if I get sales from this or not because I'll get sales from promoting it. I'll talk about that in a second, but, um, I wanna actually test on a large scale in a short amount of time. So if it fails, I don't care. Like it's that so that's my intention. So you have to know your intention. If your intention is different, you wanna test something, by all means, go for it. You just know that if it's not something that you've proven before, then it might not work. And then you might not get results and you might be like, oh, summits suck. And that's not necessarily the case. It's just how it was used. Um so I definitely recommend knowing what your intention is, but definitely using your bestseller if you're not sure if it's your first one, because it will amplify the results you already have. And there's something really neat too about when your patterns are amplified and all of a sudden a bunch of people start making them, then other people start to see them and you get this snowball effect and like people start to know your pattern by name and they start recognizing it and posting it in groups and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting this free marketing from the people who are actually making my pattern." And so that's another reason why picking your bestseller is good. Then you want to pick your freebie, like we kind of talked about the alignment, making sure your freebie is aligned with that same topic. And then kind of backing up. So if you want sales and you want your email list, so you pick your email list topic that or freebie that's going to be aligned with that. So they're like, okay, half square triangles. She's got this great guide. I've never done them before. I want to try this. Let me jump in here. And so then you back out one step more and say, okay, based on that, what I want to sell and what I would give free to get them on my email list, then what does my presentation need to be about that's going to make them want to get those things? So you want the alignment in all of those. So if I was going to do the luminary quilt, I might do, something where the freebie is like how to, I don't even know. I don't have a freebie for that because I just sell it straight up. Am I Apple? I'm the only one who doesn't like the summit, like presentations are my freebie, my list builder, because people can come and attend for free. But so that's about it. We'll use yours. So like if you are, what's your half square triangle freebie?
The tip sheet for making,
Oh, right.
and you've been saying half square, it's half
I'm
rectangle,
sorry. Half
triangle. Yeah,
rectangle. Oh my gosh. I'm so
yeah,
sorry. I knew that, but I've been working
but
with half square triangles in
yeah,
one of my quilts recently. So that's half
yep,
rectangle
yep.
You
triangles.
did
Thank you
it
for
too,
correcting
Jamie.
me.
So correct.
Oh my gosh. Half rectangle triangles. And I know it because I was picturing them in my mind. But
Yep, yep.
so you're doing the half rectangle triangles. And so it's a tip sheet on how to do them better, or is
Yeah.
it a tutorial? What exactly is it?
It's a basic guide for making the common alignment of the units to make any
Mhm.
size HRT.
Oh, nice. Nice. And that I assume like mentions your ruler, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
And
and
then
it
you have your workshop so you can promote that. So that's all aligned. So what is your presentation about to get people to want to opt into
the
that?
presentation walks, obviously it gives an introduction to the unit, and then I, actually do a tutorial on, a block that uses HRTs,
Mhm.
and then that block is also featured in the sampler that is the course that I promote in the workshop.
So that's absolutely perfect. And you've done it wonderfully because everything is aligned. It's not like you're talking about half square triangles
Yeah.
and then doing half rectangle triangles where they're like, what? That would be confusion. So
Right.
that's perfectly aligned. And that's what when people do that, when you have that straight alignment from presentation to opt-in to paid products, that's where you're going to see the best results for that. So as you are making your presentation, there's a few key elements, and you probably already sent it in because they were due like a month ago. So, but here's some of the things that I try and add into my presentations when I have that alignment and that intention in the end. So, one, mention your freebie at the start of your presentation because nobody starts a presentation in the middle, but they often drop off after the beginning at some point. I mean, some people will watch all the way to the end, but that's always a small minority of people. So just say, by the way, give your introduction. By the way, there's a free thing below that's directly related to this. If you want to go click the button and download that right now, you can do that. You can do it afterwards, but just mention it at the beginning. Doesn't have to be big. Especially if it's related to your presentation, nobody's going to be upset that you're doing that. They might, if they're like, hey, let me give you this ad and go buy this and whatever, at the beginning, you're going to lose people because they're like, oh, she's just selling. But if you can do that, it's a helpful add on, they'll want to do it. So do that at the beginning if you can. Second, seed and mention the things that you're selling in your presentation as much as possible. Same with your freebie too. You don't have to like say you can get this here. You don't have to promote it. But if you're mentioning it, like, so I'm going to use my half rectangle triangle ruler. Do you have a special name for it?
It's called the Little Bit Different ruler.
So I'm going to use my little bit different ruler to make these half rectangle triangles, which I personally designed to make it easy to do these. And then you just keep going on and show them how to use it. You're not like, you can get it on my website, whatever, because they're smart enough to know that if you have this ruler that you designed, that they should go look at your website and find it. They will find it on their own, right? So seed your stuff throughout your thing without it being like big and salesy. And then at the end, that's where you want to tell them, okay, if you like this, you're sitting there thinking, gosh, I really want to try this, then here's how you can get it. So if you haven't downloaded the freebie, get that. You can also visit my website to get the ruler, and I have a full workshop. This is just one tiny piece of a bigger puzzle. So like everything you've done is in perfect alignment and absolutely a plus as far as I'm concerned there. And then the other thing I would mention is if you do travel and teach and want to get more guild things, mention that too. Because I know like I pulled my audience, my email list in the fall, and I got like 700 people who replied. And I think like 500 of them said they were in a guild or held a position in a guild. And they're always looking for more teachers. And so if they just watched your presentation and thought it was good, it's a great way just to say, by the way, I do teach at guilds and things. If you are looking for somebody, I do travel. It's a quick little seed. And that for some people, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that, because they're seeing it online and you can just help them bridge that gap. Let's see. So, and then the only other thing I would mention is the title of your presentation. Again, I did this really bad on mine. And I want to also admit that when I was doing my presentation for this one coming up, I broke a lot of rules, somewhat on purpose, but also because I'm in Minnesota and it's been very difficult the last month here. There's been a lot of instability and things going on, and I was very distracted. So I kind of went on like, I just need to get something done. I'm not going to worry and put as much time and intention as I normally do, but I'm going to use it to test. And so I just made that intention. It was fine. But generally, your title, you'll want to either speak to a problem that people have, like, or to something that they may want to do or try. Like you've never tried this, or, like, I don't. Do you have a title for yours, Andi? Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
I don't, because I'm actually planning a different talk, and so that title is
So
more.
it's messy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'd have
Totally
to.
understand. So when you have your title, the main thing is you want to, like, when people are looking at a summit, they're not going to watch every single presentation. So 36,000 people is awesome, but most people don't have time to watch every single one all the way to the end. And so they're going to pick the topics that are interesting to them or relevant to them. So part of this is saying, okay, based on what I want to sell, maybe you're going to be talking to, maybe it could be like from half square triangles to half rectangle triangles. How to bridge the gap, or add
Yeah.
more interest into your quilts or
In
something
the
along those
past, I've
lines.
used the concept of stretch, so I'll say
Hmm.
stretch your blocks because,
Yes.
like you said, that takes them from the half square to the half rectangle.
Yes. So you can use whatever you like, but as long as you are using a title, because that's what they're going to judge you by. Like if they don't know you and you're just another face on a website to them, they're going to look at that title. And so it's really important to think about, who do I want to watch this that's most likely to get the most value out of it and want to keep moving on. So you definitely want it to be about half rectangle triangles, not half square triangles, which I almost said again. And so that they know coming in, like, okay, I'm going to learn about this and it's going to go from there. So that's the presentation part. Do you want me to I'm just like, blah, 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 getting it all. All right.
We're sponges, we're absorbing it all. It
Great.
is so, so great. Yeah, yeah,
Great.
so
We know that our audience have a lot of questions about this, so this is wonderful. Go ahead, Jamie.
All right. So then once you've got your presentation set up, that'll do stuff during the summit. Now, I know summits all do things differently. We don't do ours live because it's stressful. I mean, with the tech and with that many people, like it would be a huge extra anxiety to have to do something live. And it's harder to get speakers that have to show up live at a specific time. So ours are all pre recorded well in advance. They have 48 hours to watch them for free before they come down off the website. And we do an encore as well, usually. So we'll do like 1 or 2 days right after the summit ends where they're all open again, where people can, because we want speakers to get results so that they want to speak again, so that they bring their friends. We want, like, Andy, I want you to get tons of email leads and thousands of dollars in sales. And it's not unheard of. We had some speakers get those results in that the first summit that we did. And so, how that happens beyond just the presentation is promotion. So for summits, they are free for people to attend, but they can upgrade. They can pay a fee, and I believe it's like $49 if they buy at the time of registration, or 69 if they buy later on. If they come back and say, "No, I do want this." So I could be wrong on that because I'm not the one setting all that part up. So take that with a grain of salt. But that's what it was last time. And so basically, when people register, they get it for free. But if they want to keep access to the videos forever, and we give them advance access as well once they register, if they buy them, they can pay that $49 and get those recordings for free, or not for free, for that VIP ticket for as long as they want. So they don't have to watch them on the days that they're released. And we do try and make it really consumable for quilters. So we try not to release more than like 5 or 6 on a day, because we know you're not going to be able to watch 20 presentations, and it doesn't serve the speakers if they only have one day to watch 20 presentations, or a really, really compressed. We want you to get the exposure. We literally want you to be seen. But we also want people to see these and say, gosh, these are so valuable. I want to have all of them. And
yeah.
for, $69, even if they come back and do that, that's very reasonable. I mean, I sell my one workshop for
Mhm.
$50, so it's
Yeah.
like lots
Well,
of little
you're
time.
right. The value for that amount, you could buy one class for that, or you could have access to dozens of teachers for that same price. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yes. And so one of the things that we do is when you promote, Andy, with your affiliate link, so every speaker gets an affiliate link. And if any quilters are watching this and you have an email list or social media following and you want to be an affiliate and promote it, you can do that even without being a speaker with our summit. So you can reach out to us. I'll give that info at the end, on how you can reach out and contact us. But you can promote this and say, hey, this is a free event. This is a free online event, because it is. And then if they buy, then you get a percentage of the speaking fees. And I don't. What we generally do with our summit is we take a lot of the money that people use to purchase this, and we put that towards ads. So that's how we get so many people. Like for this one coming up, um, we do a pre-sale period where we run ads to test the pages and see which ones are going to convert best and make sure everything's working well before we ask our affiliates to promote. So as we're recording this, tomorrow is the first day that affiliates can promote the speakers. I'm an affiliate. I don't do the pre stuff. That's done by one of my partners. But we already have 13,000 people registered, because we can take that money from people buying and put them back into ads and make sure that we can do that. And that's one piece that I don't think a lot of Quilt Summit runner people are doing. They're relying just on the speakers to promote, which can still bring in thousands of people, and it's not bad. But it's part of how we get the big numbers that we get, is we take the revenue, and when we start with that, then we know that it's all working before you send your people to it, so they're not getting broken pages and this didn't work, and we try and work all the bugs out before we go. So then once you, as a speaker or as an affiliate, you have a link you can give to your people, say come register. And then you can do that via emails. You can do it on social posts. I do mention, because people, if they know you and love you, they want to support you. So you can just say, hey, there's an option to upgrade. And if you do, I get a percentage of that. So thank you in advance for, for doing that. Because one, you have to disclose it by law. But two, people love, I get so many sales from people saying, I just bought it because I want to promote you or like support you. And it's like, thank you. I hope you actually like it and like want to do this. But our quilters are a wonderful community that love to support us. And so it's a great way to do that. But even if not, you're giving your people something free that's highly valuable that they're going to be grateful for. So that's really great. And when you're promoting it, if you're a speaker, definitely talk about your specific topic, but also don't just say, hey, it's a free online conference. I like to point out in my emails or social posts specific other talks that I think are going to be really interesting to my audience. So, like, I know they're very interested in free motion quilting based on the surveys that I've done. I don't teach that. I don't do that. I'm a hand quilter. And so I love when I promoted last time, I'm like, hey, here's a free motion quilting thing. If you've been interested in this, go here. Andy's teaching half rectangle triangles. Definitely check that out. I haven't done them. And I definitely am going to be watching your presentation because I want to learn them. I want to branch out and learn new skills. And so when you can get specific, then it's more likely to pique their interest and say, oh gosh, this really is going to be amazing versus just like, oh, it's just online, what's an online conference? They don't necessarily know what they're going to learn. So that's another way to get more people to sign up with your link. And then encourage them to invite a friend. Like, don't do this alone. It's online, but we're a great community. So bring one of your friends. They can sign up too for free. Um, yeah. So that's last time we did this. We had 2 speakers who made over $5,000 in affiliate commissions by promoting a free online conference to their people and then getting the upsell tickets. And the more everybody promotes this, the more people come to this conference. And so we did get a good number of registrations and quilters who came based on speakers who promoted through their affiliate link. I don't have the number in front of me, but it was substantial. And so the more everyone promotes, the more everybody comes together and can get in front of more people. And I know some people don't think exposure is worth it. They hear like, oh, I can't pay my bills with exposure. No, but if you're doing these tips, you can get, you can get those affiliate commissions, you can get sales of your ruler and your workshop. And um, there's ways to get more of the buyers from the summit onto your list. So and I say summit and online conference interchangeably. Publicly, we kind of say online conference because quilters don't know what summits are necessarily. So we tested that. And so we try and say online conference, but it's always been a summit in my mind. So that's the same thing. But so one of the things we do is we offer a VIP bundle that is part of this paid package. So it's not just the presentations, but you as a speaker has an opportunity to give one of your paid items away to the people who purchase for free. Now you're probably saying, why would I want to give people something that I'm trying to sell? Why would I want to give that away for free? We had some people who didn't understand this. And this is where you do not have to align it with your talk if you do not want to. So it's an opportunity to get exposure to something else that you sell that you wouldn't necessarily, so it's not taking away from the sales that you would be getting from this workshop or whatever else. But what happens is anybody who gets that bundle, that VIP bundle, they paid at least $49, maybe $69, and you know that they're a buyer. So when they go to redeem your item in that bundle, you know that these are people who are willing to spend money on their quilting. So it's a higher level person to have on your email list than the non-buyers. And that was one thing that I did track is for my last one, I didn't, because I didn't do the freebie. The summit was my freebie. I had a buy this at the bottom and I just promoted a product. Doesn't convert as well if you just promote a product instead of going from the email list to a product, just so everybody knows. But those people were excellent. And my VIP bundle people who downloaded that were also more likely to buy from me afterwards than just the people who signed up for something else. So the buyers they're willing to spend money. Some people will never buy anything online ever, no matter how much you want to, whatever. And that's fine. But we want those buyers for our email list. So that's another way that you can get buyers on your list. And then schedule your promotions for right after the summit. So have a few emails written so that once people join your world, like once your talk goes live, you're like, hey, this was awesome. Hey, by the way, here's who I am. And here's more. Like you can do a welcome sequence that promotes your stuff and gets them into your world. I made about $2,000 on the back end of the summit just from doing that. Like a couple of, I think it was like 2 or 3 simple emails. It wasn't anything complex. I didn't have a lot of time at the moment and my life kind of blew up. And so it was like doing this with the kids and whatever. And it still brought extra money in just from those people who signed up there and went from that. So if you're going to launch something new, like that's a great time to launch something new or something separate, promote what you were doing again, but then, say, by the way, there's also these other things. So, all right, I have talked to you. Give me questions. Like there's so much. I could talk about this for hours, but there's just so many things you can do to get the most out of this. And I want people to succeed and really just like thrive and see this as a huge, takeoff point for them. So I get excited about it.
I love that you came with notebook with, like, you were
I might have.
like, people are gonna absolutely love all of the information you just gave. So you said it was gonna be a master class. I mean, you joked about it, but it was a master class. That was
Yeah.
excellent. So my thinking is, okay, what am I gonna do next? So I'm ready to sign up for the summit. I am
Mhm,
ready to go in and watch everything and look for the pieces that you're talking about. So I can
mhm,
see what other people are doing and how I can use it in my own business. So that's where I'm
mhm,
at right now. So I hope our listeners are there too. Like, because we can't sign up to be a speaker anymore, but you have another one coming up that we could.
mhm,
If we sign up for the free one now or even the paid version, we get to see all the things you just
mhm.
discussed, and we get to apply it to our own stuff. And
Yep.
that's where I'm at right now.
Well, that's great. So, Tori, too, I know you teach more of the marketing and business, and this is generally just quilters. I mean, there will absolutely be people in our industry watching. We saw a lot of that for the one we did last fall. So it's not impossible, but you could do something like how to take better photos and video of your quilt for social media. And then you could, so it could have a wider appeal, but then you wouldn't get as much result, maybe. Maybe you would. I mean, if you have, because with business and marketing, you can charge a lot more than a $15 pattern, or whatever else on the back end for your marketing services. So you can say, this is what I do with professional quilters, and I'm going to teach you how to make your quilts look the best so that, people always want to get recognition. They look the best in the groups and they're going to look great on Instagram. And let me teach you some techniques for making better images and photos of your stuff. And then you could teach that, but also just see that this is what I do with my clients. And here's an example from another client who did this, who, like, it would be a very easy marketing piece that would also be very valuable for quilters who want to have, like, maybe they want to do more quilt testing and they know they need to have good images and photos. So you could serve kind of two people, but I don't know what your rates are or how much it would need to cost, like how much you would need to make it worth your time. But I imagine that you could find at least a few people who are like, yeah, I'm a new pattern designer. I need to market this. Like, absolutely. So you could seed. You could add little side comments about what you do with your clients, but still teach all quilter. So you could do it. It's the most valuable when your target client is just a quilter. Like, that isn't doing it professionally, because that's the most of what we'll have. But you could absolutely potentially get both.
You're totally right. I didn't even consider that, but that is a great idea, especially the social media and the pictures part. Like, okay, I want to
Yeah.
think more about that, Jane.
See, so I want to just take a meta look and remind our listeners that this is the power of just chatting with other people, is because you always have ideas for how other people can improve. It's harder to reflect on yourself, but so just
It
schedule a
is.
time with some other quilt business owners and just chat, and you'll be amazed at what comes up. Jamie,
Yeah.
thank you
Don't
so
don't
much.
you have a group for that too? Don't you have a Patreon where people can chat and do that together?
We do. We've
Absolutely.
got our Patreon community. Look at Jamie like marketing for us.
Yep, yep, she's a pro.
Well, we
So, um, we need to run into the rapid fire. So, we always start off with, what is a difficult color for you to use in your projects? One of those
Brown.
less loved.
Brown. Oh my gosh. I could do any color but brown. Although the quilt I'm making right now has some browns in it. I'm stretching myself a little bit.
Well, good, good. We love to hear that.
so do you prefer yardage or pre-cuts?
I like pre-cut bundles with lots of colors in them. I'm a huge fan of rainbow quilts. Like, pretty much everything I do tends to be rainbow. And I love yardage because you can do a lot with it, but like, I love to have the variety of fabrics to play with a lot more than just straight up yardage.
Very, very good. Tell us about your favorite notion or tool that you use in your quilting.
Yeah, this one is a surprise to me, but I got one of the wool mats, the wool ironing mats, and I thought it would be hokey, and I love the thing. It like gave my iron like double power. It just, that holding the heat underneath, and it just, my seams are so much nicer and flatter. Although I use steam a lot, and so if you use a wool mat, it will destroy whatever surface is under them if you use steam. So I knew going in that that was a potential, so I just use that on an old, like, TV tray that I don't care about, but I love the thing. I have it next to my machine, I use it all the time, and I cannot believe how much I love it.
Great tip.
Who is inspiring you right now? And it doesn't have to be anyone in the quilting industry.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me because I have a lot of people. My friend Amanda Bond, she is a Facebook, well, she's run Facebook ads and done Facebook content for years. And she's so strategic and process driven. And she's been talking a lot about the Facebook content monetization program, where you can actually make money posting your pictures, just posting on Facebook. And she is like a new mom. She doesn't have a lot of time. And she is just like going crazy. Like, I won't swear because I don't know where this goes, but she is doing very, very well, kicking butt,
Yeah.
teaching content. And because she also knows the ad side, like her theory is like the best ads come from organic content that is already doing well that you just amplify with ads. And so she's also a friend of mine. So we've been having lots of conversations, but I've been watching a lot of what she's doing um, online as well because she's talking a lot about that. And I just got into that monetization program in December, and I've made like $350 from it in 2 months without a lot of effort. And so it's like, oh, this can actually make me some money too. So another reason for you to teach people how to take engaging photos and video, Tori.
Yeah, yeah,
Love
that's so
yeah.
smart. What is your favorite part of your business?
I think for me, it's that I get to make money doing something that I love. And there's so little pressure when it's like, under $100. Like, I was doing high ticket coaching, like, many thousands of dollars a year with my clients, and it was so much pressure to make sure that they were making that money back, and I loved it because I love seeing people's businesses completely transform, but it was so stressful because it's just like, "Oh my gosh, they're paying me how much every month?" And now and so it's like, I get to work with quilters, we just get to play. I don't have to worry about, if it's $15 and they hate it, like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like they're losing lots of money. And so I think for me, the ease of it, but also it's such a passion and it's something I've done. It's my favorite art. I've done all of them. So it's my favorite one to do. And so the fact that I can actually make a living with pattern design and online workshops just blows my mind. It's just wonderful.
And last one is how many quilts are in the room with you right now?
Do you include mini quilts and unfinished or finished, or what do you
You
want?
decide the parameters.
I would guess about 8 finished quilts in this room specifically, lots more in other places, though I do gift most of my quilts, so I generally don't have the problem that a lot of quilt designers do where they're like, "What do I do with all my sample quilts?" I'm like, "Give them away." But I have 6 kids, and so my kids are always, like, fighting for my quilts. And so it's there's always somebody I wanna make a quilt for, so that helps.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for spending time with us and giving us such a deep dive into your summits and how to make them work for quilters of all varieties, I would say. Um, Before we go, tell people where they can find you and what's coming up.
Yeah, so we do have the Quilters Paradise Summit coming up March 9th through 16th of 2026. So if you are watching this on time, Andi will put a link below, her affiliate link, so she can make some money promoting it. See, this is how it works. So go sign up through her affiliate link. Definitely see what's going on there. And if you are interested in being a speaker, you can email Jared at masteryroot.com. He takes care of all the admin for that. And so he said you can put his email down there as well. I also have a Instagram and Facebook, which side note are wonderful for organic growth right now if you're doing reels and video. So hire Tori to learn how to do that if you don't know how. But that's Craft a Dream on Facebook, and then Jamie Bright Quilts on Instagram. And I also have a membership called the Quilters Play Space, where we do a monthly challenge every month where you don't have to make a full quilt or finish it. You can do as much as a little block, but it's really to foster your creativity. And selfishly, it's to get me behind my machine every month because I'm going to do them too. And I was finding that I was spending more time behind my computer than behind my machine, which I wanted to change up. So that's at craftadream.com/ join play space. Join play space. There we go. We'll have the link down below. So that's where
Of
people can
course.
find me and follow me.
Thank you so much for being here, Jamie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was really a joy.
All right, so we had a really cool chat with Jamie yesterday.
We sure did. What was your biggest takeaway when you think back to all her information about summits?
I love how she stays within her joy, like what she wants to do, and she partnered with somebody who was an expert at well, in this case, summits. And I think that's a really important thing for us to take away, is that when we partner and collab, it can make it easier on everybody and have a better successful launch, or because last year was their first year, so a successful venture. That's the word I think I'm looking for. But a successful venture when you collaborate with an expert in what you want to do. So what was your biggest
Yeah.
takeaway?
Yeah, for sure. I was struck by her intentionality throughout her business story. She launched her first pattern, like you said, as a collaboration, and then she moved away because it was what fit for her and her family and her business ideas. And then when she came back, you're right, she searched and found partners that could fill the gaps. We always want to bring on someone who can help us in areas that we may be weaker, and that allows us more time and effort to devote to our strengths. So that was really good. And I did have one action item after she was talking. She mentioned that post event period, and we've said before that you need to plan your content for that period when you need to rest. But her idea of having some promotion or, event, and I'm thinking with my content, I can easily promote or continue to promote the patterns that I talk about during the summit. And so that really sparked me to put some intentionality, some effort into that post-event period and get that all set up now so that I can capitalize on the hopeful success of a summit coming up in March.
Definitely. I like how you talked about setting it up now,
Yeah.
getting that scheduled ahead of time. That way you can kind of relax after the summit and let it run and then see how it goes afterwards. I like that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Your future self is so appreciative of those efforts when we put them in on the front side. So yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, Jamie's conversation was just wonderful. She was so open and it has a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait to talk to her again.
That's a wrap on today's conversation. We hope it gave you something real to take back to your business.
And if you liked this episode, please hit subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more quilters find the show and feel a little less alone on their entrepreneurial journey.
And if you want more support, from behind the scenes content to live chats, you'll find more in our Quilting on the Side community on Patreon. And as always, don't forget to do
a little quilting on the side.